Hello everyone and welcome to another beer review here from the Czech Republic. Thank you very much for joining and for watching. This evening I would like to speak about a beer that is very close to my heart because I really like it. It's a beer that I've had many times before, so I'm not trying it for the first time today, but I would like to have it today and share my views and my opinion about it with you, and then also maybe speak about the brewery itself a little bit. And the reason why I want to do this today is because earlier this morning in one of the kind of Facebook Czech beer groups, somebody was asking a question. Somebody from the US who do get beer from Pardubice regularly. So there is a distributor apparently that imports the beer to the US, and he was asking about the brewery because apparently, or not apparently, the brewery has closed. So he was asking whether or not this is one of the beers that has been brewed in a different location, or if this was an old bottle, which then triggered me to have this beer review today and share my views and my opinion about the beer with you. So the beer I'm talking about today is the 12 degrees pale lager called the Sklepa from the Pardubicky Pivovar. As I mentioned, unfortunately the Pardubicky Pivovar closed earlier this year. It's either still is or it was. I'm not sure how they handle this. But it is or was part of the Pivovari Staropramen group of breweries, which in turn is part of the Molson Coors international group of breweries. And last year they decided to close the brewery in Pardubice, the Pardubicky Pivovar, for economical reasons, and move some of the production to Ostrava. So Ostrava, the brewery Ostrava, is also part of the Pivovari Staropramen, and some of the beers of the Pardubicky Pivovar's previous range, they moved to Ostrava, but at the moment it is not really clear which beers they were, or that would be moved and kind of continued. I think what we do know, although I'm still missing the kind of official confirmation for it, is that the Pardubicky Porter, which was really appreciated by a lot of people who like their porter beers, has been discontinued, so that won't be available anymore. You can still see it sometimes in the shops, but these are the kind of the last bottles. And so it's not really clear which other beers or which of the beers that the Pardubicky Pivovar previously had actually moved for production in Ostrava. I hope it is this one, the 12 degrees Ležák, or the 11 degrees Ležák, which is called Pernstein Willem, and that's also a very nice beer. But at the moment I'm not entirely sure which range of beers were moved to Ostrava and which have been discontinued. Pardubicky Pivovar, I mean, it's one of the breweries that will be sadly missed, because they really made great beers. And if you have ever been to Pardubice, to the brewery, you will know how great it was to go there for a beer. Ideally during the summer, where you could sit outside and just enjoy a cold, fresh brew. It was just really good. They also had great food there as well, although my stomach didn't agree with the Coleno that I once had there, with the Schweinshaxe, we say in German. My stomach didn't agree with it, unfortunately, but I think I was just unlucky on that particular day, because otherwise they really made great food there. And so a lot of people also confirmed, when you read reports or read reports about people going there, it was always really positive feedback. And Pardubice itself is actually quite a nice city too. It's definitely worth a visit. They also have a great ice hockey team there called Dynamo Pardubice. So you could always, they have a football team there as well. So if you're into the sports, you could go to ice hockey or football and then pop into the brewery for a beer. Now the brewery restaurant will still be open, which is good news. You know, so they will continue the business of that brewery restaurant and the beer garden, but the beer will have been produced in Ostrava and then kind of shipped to Pardubicky for consumption. So it's a bit of a pity, you know, but I guess it is what it is. Maybe something else will come out of it at some point. Maybe some new kind of Pardubicky Pivovar will emerge, you know, within that location and will brew either new beers, or they will take over some of the old recipes and, you know, start brewing them again. You know, maybe the Pardubicky Porter, who knows. I mean, what we have seen now is another brewery that was closed last year, the Zatetsky Pivovar. You know, they belonged to Carlsberg, and Carlsberg closed them down last year, you know, also for economic reasons, and now they re-emerged as a kind of small brewery, bringing back some of the old beers, you know, the 11 degrees Svetly Ležák as an example, but also the Set Me Hot, which is also a very nice beer. So some of the beers are back, and I hope that maybe in Pardubice somebody else will step in, take over, and maybe produce some of the great beers that the Pardubicky Pivovar used to make while they were still in Pardubice. But enough talking, let's give this beer a go. It is Pernstein is a Sklepa, you know, Svetly Ležák, pale lager, 12 degrees. It comes with 5% ABV alcohol content, so you know, a kind of just a normal kind of Svetly Ležák. However, I do expect this to be a bit more bitter, and it's what they say here as well, Horka 12, which means, you know, it's more of a bitter beer. So I expect a nice bitterness coming through, you know, while I enjoy it. So let's give this a go. Found my bottle opener again, so don't have to use the lighter today. Oh, very lively. Very lively. But I don't mind. But it already looks great, you know. I just love the color of this. It just looks perfect. I'm using my Pardubicky Pivovar glass as well. I got it the last time I went to the brewery, so that was very nice of them to give me one. But as you can see, you know, just a beautiful deep golden color that I appreciate in a Czech lager so much. And then that thick foamy head. I mean, it's just so inviting. You know, it makes you wonder, why would you want to close a brewery that produces something as attractive as that? I mean, obviously, it's all down to taste. But, you know, in German we have a saying, das Auge ist mit. And I think it's the same for beer. You know, it basically means that, you know, the eye, you know, eats with you. I don't know how to translate that into English. But it basically, it needs to be attractive, you know, the food that you're eating. You know, because it just makes it a tiny bit better. And I think it's exactly the same with beer. You know, beer needs to be attractive. At the end, it comes down to taste, of course it does, but it still needs to be that, you know, that first impression that a beer needs to make. And, you know, usually Czech lagers make that very, very good impression, and this one certainly does. You know, again, that deep golden color and that nice foamy head on top of it. You know, in a Tübinger style glass like this one, it's just absolutely perfect. Exactly what I would be looking for in a Czech lager. So, give this a go. Na zdraví. It's just so good. It really is just so good. And I hope you can still see me. I don't know, the camera seems to be playing some light tricks on me here. I don't know what's happening, but it's getting dark and it's kind of bright again. Let me see if I can move some of the light here a little bit, so that you can actually still see me, which would be quite good. So let's maybe try this. No, that doesn't work either. So I'm sorry about that, but you know, I don't have a professional recording studio available to me, unfortunately, so I have to make do with what I have. But I hope you will still be able to see me, and if you can't see me, well, hopefully you can you can hear me, although that's not the purpose of a video. But yeah, there you go. I mean, it is what it is. So let's see if this will work or not. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, the beer. So let's talk about the beer. So it's just, again, from an attractive point of view, it's really well done. Something that I just really like. It just had exactly what it promised it will do. It gave me that very nice bitterness, that's really coming through, as you kind of zip along. And then again, that it just not even the zipping along, it just stays with you. As you have already finished your last sips, the bitterness remains. And that's something that I really appreciate. And it's something that I really want in a beer like this. In a Czech lager, your typical Czech lager, that is advertised as a Horka, which means as a kind of more bitter beer than others maybe. So this is really well done. It's very hoppy. There is a bit of maltiness as well coming through, particularly in the beginning. But just overall, I'm more kind of attracted to that bitterness at the end. That's really nicely coming through, and something that I really appreciate. Now let's give this another go. Yeah, it's that bitterness. It's just so really refreshingly nice, and again, it really stays. So something that I really like. Also, the aroma. You do get a bit of a hoppy aroma from it. As you kind of started. Just absolutely perfect. Exactly what I want in a Czech lager, in a more bitter Czech lager. Now, I do hope that, as I mentioned before, the Pardubicky Pivovar, somebody is going to pick up, excuse me, on some of the beers. Maybe bring some of them back with the old recipes, or potentially even create, new types of beers within that facility, because the facility is there. I believe there is a need for a good brewery in that region as well, because Pardubice, I mean, you have Hradec Králové next to it as well, as a city, but they're not very well known for the kind of great beers, apart from the Pardubicky Pivovar. So I can see the light is slowly coming back. So, good. You can see me again. So I hope that really somebody's going to pick up on it. And, of course there are some breweries there. But again, when I talk really about, breweries with a name that are known, throughout the country, and I think the Pardubicky Pivovar is really the one that stood out from that region. And it's a pity that it has closed and it's just not there anymore. So I really hope somebody's going to pick up on it. Similarly with what has happened in Zatec, with the Zatecký Pivovar, bring back some of the old beers, bring back the porter. I think a lot of people would appreciate it, if the porter would be available, again, and I hope that something will be made out of it, and it just won't be sold, the buildings and so on, and somebody will do something else with it. I really hope somebody will come in and pick up on the brewery and maybe start brewing beer there again. With regards to this one, the Pernstein is a Sklepa. I do believe it has been continued. I'm as I said in the beginning, I'm not sure which beers were continued. I do know, or I do believe to know, that the porter was discontinued, but I do think they have continued this. So I hope we will see this around for a long time. Similarly to the Pernstein Willem, which is the 11 pale degrees lager. But, unfortunately with, larger corporations like the Startup Ramen Group, you just don't know, unfortunately. So let's hope, let's keep our fingers crossed. With regards to availability, I mean, you get this in kind of any supermarket for as long as it is available. In the Czech Republic, you definitely find this in Kaufland, in Albert, in Tesco, but you will also find this in Billa, for example. So, you will be able to purchase this, when you come to the Czech Republic, and it's available at a reasonable price as well in the supermarket. So it's a kind of mid-range beer, it's not on top where like the Pilsner Urquell and Budvars. It's not at the bottom either. It's kind of nice mid-range. So it's a really affordable beer, and you get a good quality with it as well. So my verdict, and when I say verdict, I mean I don't want to make you think I haven't had this before. I did have this before a lot of times, but again, I just want to have share my thoughts and my opinion with you, because of the discussions that I've read today on social media. But my verdict in general is that this is an absolutely fantastic beer. And again, when you look at it now, of course the foam has subsided a little bit because I've been talking now for 5-6 minutes after I first poured it, but just beautiful color, the beautiful impression the beer gives. It's definitely something that I would recommend, and something that I hope you will get a chance to try if you haven't already done so while you were in the Czech Republic, or if you have ordered this online from an online shop. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have had this before, leave me a comment, let me know what your thoughts were. If you will be lucky enough to have this in the future, if it has been continued by the Startup Ramen Brewery Group, then I hope you will leave a comment maybe in the future, and let me know what you thought. Subscribe to my channel for more beer reviews, for more talks about Czech beer, and breweries and cities in the Czech Republic as well. And if you have any questions, send me a message and I will try to answer as well. Thank you very much and have a nice evening. Bye bye.